One man survived both atomic bombs. A pope once put a corpse on trial. And a Roman emperor declared war on the ocean and claimed victory. None of these are jokes. None of these are exaggerations. And if even one of these sounds fake to you, that's the point. History is full of moments that sound unbelievable when you hear them out loud. Not because they're misunderstood, but because they clash with how we expect the past to behave. At the height of the Roman Empire, Emperor Caligula marched his army to the sea. This was Rome at its absolute peak. Its armies were feared. Its authority was rarely questioned. When an emperor gave an order, it was carried out. Thousands of soldiers stood in full armor, arranged in battle formation, waiting for instructions. These were trained professionals, men who had fought real enemies and real wars. Then Caligula gave the command to attack the water. The soldiers stabbed the waves. They hurled spears into the surf. They advanced and retreated as if the ocean itself were a living enemy that could be defeated. No one stopped him. No one refused the order. When it was over, Caligula declared victory and ordered his men to collect seashells as spoils of war. Those shells were taken back to Rome, presented as proof that the sea had been conquered. This was not symbolism. It was not satire. It was a real military operation recorded by Roman historians who didn't know how to explain it either. And this man ruled the most powerful empire on earth at a time when opposing him could mean death. In the year 897, a pope ordered the body of his dead predecessor dug up. The former pope, named Molasses, had been dead for months. His body had already begun to decay and had been buried according to church tradition. Despite that, his corpse was dressed in papal robes, placed on a throne, and put on trial in front of church officials. This trial followed real legal procedures. Charges were read. Accusations were made. A deacon was assigned to answer questions on behalf of the rotting body. The verdict was decided in advance. The corpse was found guilty. The dead pope's fingers were cut off, symbolically stripping him of the authority he once held. His body was dragged through the streets of Rome and thrown into the Tiber River. This wasn't mob violence. It wasn't chaos. It was an official church proceeding, remembered today as the Cadaver Synod. Even at the time, people were disturbed by it. Soon after, the pope responsible was imprisoned and killed. History rarely offers irony this clean. In August of 1945, a Japanese engineer named Tsutomu Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima on a business trip when the atomic bomb detonated. He was close enough to be injured, but far enough away to survive. He was burned, injured, and temporarily blinded. Buildings around him were flattened. People near him were instantly killed. Against all odds, he lived. Days later, still injured, he returned home to Nagasaki. He tried to explain to co-workers and officials that a single bomb had erased an entire city. Most people didn't believe him. The story sounded impossible. Then the second atomic bomb exploded over Nagasaki. Yamaguchi survived again. He went on to live into his 90s and was officially recognized by the Japanese government as the only person known to have survived both atomic bombings. His life became a reminder that history's biggest events still happen to individuals. During the Cold War, the CIA launched a real project called Acoustic Kitty. At the time, intelligence agencies believed technology could solve almost any problem. Espionage was becoming more advanced, and surveillance was seen as the future. The goal was to turn cats into mobile surveillance devices. Microphones were surgically implanted into a cat's ear. A transmitter was placed inside its body. Engineers attempted to train the cat to wander near foreign officials and record conversations. The project cost millions of dollars and took years to develop. During the first real-world test, the cat was released near its target. Seconds later, it walked into traffic and was hit by a taxi. The project was quietly abandoned and later described as a failure, even within the CIA. Some ideas sound brilliant until they encounter reality. According to medieval accounts, a woman known as Pope Joan disguised herself as a man and rose through the church hierarchy. She was highly educated, well-spoken, and trusted. Eventually, she was elected pope. a position of enormous power at the time. She ruled for several years without being discovered. Until one day, during a public procession, she collapsed and gave birth in the street. The reaction was immediate. Afterward, the story was officially denied. Records were altered or removed entirely. But the legend persisted for centuries, appearing in sermons, art, and writings. Historians still debate whether it was erased truth or carefully constructed myth. In the late 1800s, heroin was sold as medicine. At the time, it was considered modern, scientific, and safe. Medical understanding of addiction was limited, and drug regulations barely existed. Heroin was advertised in newspapers, sold over the counter, and prescribed by doctors. To children, doctors gave heroin to treat coughs, teething pain, and insomnia. They believed it was a safe, non-addictive alternative to morphine. They were catastrophically wrong. Only later did society realize the scale of addiction and harm that had been introduced as medicine. For centuries, European maps showed a large island west of Ireland called High Brazil. It appeared on maps as early as the 1300s and continued to appear for hundreds of years. Cartographers copied one another. Explorers trusted existing maps. Ships searched for it. Sailors claimed to see it through the fog. Expeditions were launched to find it. The island never existed. Eventually, cartographers quietly removed High Brazil from maps, without explanation. For over 500 years, an imaginary place was treated as real geography. In 1518, residents of Strasbourg began dancing uncontrollably. It started with one woman in the street. Within days, dozens joined her. Then hundreds. There was no music, no celebration. People danced for hours. Then days. Some collapsed from exhaustion. Some died. Authorities tried everything they could think of, including prayers, musicians, and even building dance platforms to control the movement. Nothing worked. Eventually, the dancing stopped on its own, leaving behind confusion and fear. In the 1872 United States presidential election, candidate Horace Greeley died after Election Day, but before the electoral votes were counted. Millions of people had already voted for him. There was no clear legal rule for what to do in that situation. So the votes were still counted, and the system quietly moved on. It was an early reminder that even modern systems can break in unexpected ways. In 1932, Australia went to war with birds. After World War I, many veterans were given farmland in Western Australia. Soon after, around 20,000 emus migrated into the area during breeding season. The birds trampled crops, broke fences, and caused major damage to farms that were already struggling. Farmers asked the government for help. The military responded by sending soldiers armed with machine guns. The plan was simple: reduce the emu population. It did not go well. The birds scattered too quickly, making them hard targets. Guns jammed. Ammunition was wasted. After several attempts, the soldiers withdrew. The emus remained. It became known as the Great Emu War, a rare moment in history where modern soldiers were outmaneuvered by large flightless birds. In 1914, the city of Boston experienced a disaster that sounds fictional. In the North End stood a massive steel tank holding more than 2 million gallons of molasses used to make industrial alcohol. The tank had been leaking for months, but no one realized how dangerous it was. On a cold January afternoon, it suddenly burst. A wave of molasses up to 25 feet high rushed through the streets. Buildings were damaged. People were knocked down and trapped in the thick liquid. Horses struggled and suffocated. Molasses is heavier than water, and in the cold air it quickly became even thicker, making rescue difficult. 21 people died. 150 were injured. Cleanup took months, and for years afterward, residents said they could still smell molasses on hot days. It remains one of the strangest industrial disasters in American history. The deadliest battle in history wasn't a war, it was a city. The Battle of Stalingrad lasted over 5 months. Fighting happened street by street, building by building and room by room. Civilians were trapped inside the fighting. Supplies ran out. Entire neighborhoods were destroyed. Estimates suggest between 1.7 and 2 million people were killed, wounded, or captured. One city absorbed that level of destruction, and the world kept turning. History doesn't need exaggeration. It's already strange enough on its own. If you liked this video and want to see more stories like these, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. There's always another part of the past that sounds impossible, until you hear what really happened.